So welcome everybody to the Demonstrating Implementation Excellence stream of SNOMED Expo 2022. So my name is Ian Spires. I'm a terminology education specialist. You can tell that I've been talking a lot this week. I'll be moderating this session. All the questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. Online attendees, you can use the Q&A box to ask questions, and on-site attendees, I've got a microphone for you to do that. So I'm now pleased to introduce E Culp.
Yes, thank you, Ian, and thanks everyone for being here this morning. Today we're going to be talking about Sweden's National Index of Prescription Indications. I'm basically going to take you through what it is, why we created it, and a little bit about why we would like to do international collaboration here.
Joe.
There we go. So our index was was commissioned in 2012, and it was basically commissioned to bring awareness and improve the lack of prescription information the prescription information was actually not really well structured and not reusable. So we really wanted to create this index to kind of help in that area. But of course, there's many more areas that prescription information needs to be structured and reusable. So this index is based on national regulations about drug management indications that need to be documented. And then it's also based on, as I said before, patient safety. And we also had the ability to work cross-collaboratively across other governmental agencies and corporations. I should probably stick to my script. So let me tell you guys about the thought process behind it. First, we really wanted to dissect the diagnosis to medication order process here. But there's two parts to this. So the first part is basically the support for decision, that information that you as a clinical professional or prescriber takes to make that decision after your diagnosis. What is it that I'm going to do for intervention for the patient? I'm going to use practice knowledge. I'm going to use maybe information within the EHR, all that available data that I have at my fingertips. And then the part that we really wanted to dissect was the SPC, or the summary of product characteristics. We kind of want to pull that process out of this process here. And that's kind of what we did. We wanted to structure the data there using SNOMED CT codes. So we wanted to make it a little bit more human readable, digestible for a system. Pull it out. And that's what we did with the index. So the index is a documentation support. It's not meant for that decision support, although I know there's other presentations going on that have thought of these SPC indications as decision support as well. But in our context, we're looking at it as a documentation support. So let's get a look under the hood here. So this index consists of two parts. We have a structured code system with SNOMED CT concepts used for our drug treatment indications. And that is from our approved therapeutic SPCU. That's where I used to work in America. From our approved SPC drug indications in Sweden. Then we have a correlating patient-specific indications for use that are not SNOMED CT coded, but are connected in our system to the SNOMED CT coded drug treatment indication. And this is two parts, one for the prescriber and one for the patient. So that the patient understands why they're taking this medication. That indication gets printed out on the drug label. And if they maybe are taking several types of medications that may be similar, they get an idea of the specific use case for that particular medication so they can differentiate and choose correctly. Then we have a second part of this code system that deals with 7 SNOMED CT concepts related to change. Why are we making a change to the drug therapy? And it's really important to see this so the second prescriber can make an informed decision once they have access to this information. So it looks like this. We basically have our drug indication, treatment indications with SNOMED CT codes here. And then we have, where my picture is walking there, our patient-specific indications that are patient-friendly. So what they're going to be seeing on the bottle. And this is for metoprolol. Just a quick example there. So how are we recommending that this gets implemented into a system? So as I said before, it's a documentation support. So the decision on what the treatment is needs to be made first. So if you're in a system and you're going to document your ordered medication, you choose your ordered medication, and then after you can use this code system to document your drug treatment indication. You can write free text, or you can have a conditional, unconditional, automatic pop-up list here. And next, you would get an option. Once you chose that drug treatment, you would get an automatic pop-up list that has the approved SPC indications for drug treatment, and you would be able to choose as a documentation support here. And once you chose that, you would have the correlated patient-specific indications connected to that. And that's what, when the patient goes to collect their prescription, would be able to see on the bottle. And this is the second smaller part here that we discussed about the reason for the change. So if you did have changes here, you would be able to document that. So the next prescriber following you would be able to see exactly why you made that change and make that informed decision based on that. Oh, I'll go back. Oh, back again? Okay. We're here to please. We're here to please. Yes. So now I'm going to discuss our process here for how we do our production and distribution of this index. Now, I want you guys to just focus on the orange parts, and this is really going to prove my understanding of this index. So just hang in with me here. So basically you have the drug approval phase here. And once that gets approved by the medical products agency, that's when our partner, the E Health agency, takes all of this medical information into their database, and they store it there and they exchange it with other systems as well. And once they get updates on, for example, the national product license of a new medication, we have a system with them where we get a notification that there's a new drug in the system that needs to be connected to our drug treatment indications. And that's where we are able to go in and connect the dots here. So after we do that, because the system is a continuous cycle, continuously coming in with new drug information, what's newly approved, the new national product license, we then do our update in our management system and connect those dots again. And they are able to send out a daily update to the EHR systems that are connected. So once we do our connections, every day there's an update and the system gets those new connections, or maybe there's been a drug that's taken off of the list that's no longer going to be used in Sweden. We can take away that drug in the system as well. So it is currently implemented in 14 regions. As I explained before, it's updated daily. And we recently made it available to private vendors because it was through our second collaborator. They were the ones that actually distributed to the EHRs, and they usually work with the big regions. So we made it available to private vendors so they would also have access to our drug treatment indications. And we do have an integration support guide that explains how we recommend that you do this. So the big picture here. The flow of medication information is a lot. And no, I'm not going to be going through this list. The important part here is all roads now in Sweden point to this red dot. And that's our national medication list. And this is newly nationally legislated and regulated that all prescribers and pharmacies are to be coupled to this database by May 2021. And our information, our index, is a part of that information structure. And this is how it looks. So, user benefits here. We've talked about information sharing, of course. We've talked about documentation support and patient safety. But now I really want to focus on information continuity, because it's not very often that in our lifespan, we have the same prescriber, we have the same doctor. We're very global, we're moving around, and we need to have consistency in the information that is provided. We need to have a place where the prescriber can see the information that the patient sees, that the pharmacy sees, that we're all on the same page, so that we can provide that continuity of care that usually comes with really knowing the patient and being there and following them through their lifespan that we really don't have access to as often today. So, put in the Instagram reel here. Let's get to the good part. So the good part here is that we do have a stable foundation with our index. It was created in 2012, or thought of in 2012, and has been running since 2015. And we think that although we have delayed in a quality assurance process here, we think it's a great idea to share this with all of you and see where we can internationally collaborate. So this is what we're thinking we need to do here. We need to review, we need to identify and cluster the information that we have currently, are the drug treatment indications, and we need to compare that to the SNOMED CT model, the editorial guide here, and we need to make updates. So that's where we're coming to soon. But there's a lot of relevance here for international use. So we would like to share that with everyone. And we think more heads are definitely better than one. So we would like to look and see which of our nationally created drug indications that have SNOMED CT codes are internationally relevant. So we want to consider what they are. We want to describe use cases, hopefully with the help of the international community, and prepare them for possible promotion to the international edition. And that would be our remodeling phase. But that's where we would like to connect the dots and put our heads together. So let's take a quick look at our index. We have 1,800 SNOMED CT coded drug treatment indications from approved SPCs. And then we have correlating 1,200 corresponding patient-specific indications. And that lovely system I told you about that we go in every day and make our connections and break down our drug treatment indications from the approved SPCs is here. So we have the ability to retrieve the SPC that has been either updated or is brand new to our system. And we kind of break it down here. And then you see, we then connect our drug treatment indications here that have the corresponding SNOMED CT codes. And then we have, even in the system, the correlated patient-specific indications here. And this is exactly what we would like to collaborate on internationally. Because I think a lot of people might think information that is standardized in the SPC is definitely a first step here to structured and reusable prescription information across patient, pharmacy, and healthcare providers. So if the EU says that the therapeutic indications are this, and the FDA says the therapeutic indications are that, this is really what they are and how we can capture them. So why not do that together? Let's SNOMEDify these SPC indications and work together on that. And if you guys were listening to the keynote presentation yesterday and you wondered what's pick me and what's cringe, it gave you a nice example of that. So thank you so much for listening to our presentation here. And let me know if you have questions.
So thank you, Erica. We've got no questions online at the moment. We've got a question in the room, and I've got a question for you as well.
Okay. Or Emma as well.
Promised I'd give you a quick.
Hi, Erica.
Hello.
Nice, yeah, nice talk. So I have a question for you. Regarding, first of all, I'm Kim Fong from the U.S. National Library of Medicine. I should introduce myself. So my question is related to the interface you show. So when the provider or the clinician enters the indication after the prescription, so is that list that will show up eventually, is that pre-populated or coming from the list at the back end, right? The prescription indication list that you have prepared, right?
Yes, that would be the integration recommendation that we have for them to kind of, when you integrate it in the system, you would connect to the appropriate approved indications that are connected to that medication.
Okay, so what if there's something called off-label use, right? So
yes.
Are they allowed to go outside that list?
Absolutely. This is a recommendation. It is just almost a best guess for the clinician as a documentation support to choose something and get it clearly documented and make it understandable for the next clinician or provider. So it is absolutely okay to choose your own. We just kind of want to help capture this data and make it an easier process for them to document and move on.
But if it's outside your list and they type in something, how are they all then? How are they mapped to SNOMED? I mean, or you can
it's sometimes they can, depending on how they set it up in the back end of the system, they may have access to the full list of codes. So they may find. Yes, full access to the rest of the list. So they can choose from there, or they can write their own, and that wouldn't be then coded.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So you just asked my question about unlicensed medicines. So well done.
Hi, Erica, great presentation. I am interested in a couple of questions. Sorry. First one was about the editorial process that you follow in order to code them to SNOMED. Is that a manual thing? And my follow-up question was, have you thought about expanding into side effects, contraindications, cautions, etc.?
Yes. So for the first part, that is a manual thing. We have two clinical physicians on our staff that actually go through and make these connections. So they're working in the field currently, and they're going through and looking, okay, what are the SPCs that are approved? What do we have in SNOMED CT that might fit this? Because it's not just nationally created. There's also internationally concepts that fit for the drug indication here as well. So that's the more of a manual process, and we have two physicians that go into that. And then the second question is, maybe. Right now we have this commission, and we are really focused on just since there's going to be a new robust implementation of it, we really want to just dive down into it, go through, dissect it, quality assure things, and that's kind of where we're going to put our focus at the moment. But I mean, of course, we would love to do that. I just wish we had more resources. Boss. You taking notes? Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, another question for me.
Yes.
You said you were notified when the SNPCs were updated.
Yes.
Who notifies you about that?
Yes. So in our management system, it is connected to that big database that the E Health Agency has with all the new information coming in for medications. So when a new medication hits our management system that doesn't have a connected SPC approved drug indication, then we have like a list that shows, oh, you have 2 new drugs that need to be connected to the system. So it's the E Health Agency that has their database that kind of has worked into our management system, and that's how we get our notifications.
We've probably time for one more question if
Mhm.
anybody wants to ask at all.
Can-
I just had a, a bit of a technical question. I know you mentioned several times about new code systems, that we're using SNOMED CT codes.
Mhm.
And I'm just trying to make sure that I understand the terminology that you're using on that, correctly. I'm putting on my HL7 hat.
Mhm.
What we tend to look at, the code system, would be like SNOMED CT. And then if we take a set of codes from that to use for a particular purpose, we call those value sets.
Mhm.
So I think what you're talking about as code systems would be what we would refer
Call
to as
that.
value sets. Is that correct?
Yes, I can definitely say that.
Okay.
That was a good, yes, I thought it was going to be something
No.
I couldn't do. I was like, technical, wait a second.
So thank you, Erica.
Yes.
It was
thank
really interesting talk.
you.
We're just going to take a few minutes and then the next session will start. So
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Thank you. And I just want to introduce the project manager for this project, my mentor, Emma Colting. I'm just the English speaker here.